What's your favorite city in America? Maybe it's your hometown, which you loved so much you never even left. Maybe it's the city where you went to college, or a place you've always dreamed of visiting but haven't made it to yet. Naming your favorite city probably is not too much of a head-scratcher, but what about the city you hate the most? Yes, hate is a strong word, especially in our current divisive times. While most cities across the United States have a hatred for another nearby town, it usually is nothing more than disliking their sports teams or making fun of their way of life. However, some cities are disliked throughout the country for a number of reasons. Now, using data from multiple surveys, the top 10 most hated cities in America have been determined. But before starting the video, I want to request we put our best efforts to creating our every single video, so please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's start. Number 10, Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte is a big city in North Carolina with over 2 million people, but why people hate Charlotte? I read some articles about hating Charlotte. The first reason is it seems that a lot of people in Charlotte have a faux sense of self-importance, and that's borne out by their passive-aggressive behavior towards others when they can remain anonymous enough to not put up the superficial southern patina. Charlotte has absolutely terrible drivers, impatient and overly hurried. The self-importance aspect is also reflected in the number of people who don't understand the concept of keeping their conversations private or using normal speaking voices, the sort of stuff I was taught in first grade. The number of loud talkers is astounding here, people who despite standing right next to one another speak nearly at the top of their lungs. Number 9, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Although Virginia Beach is considered a very beautiful city whose population is around 500,000, but then why do people dislike Virginia Beach? Let me explain it to you through one man's review and what he has to say. Virginia Beach is the worst place I've ever lived in America. Everyone preaches God and goes to church, which is weird cause they're the most miserable people I've had the unfortunate opportunity to meet. The whole state shuts down on Sundays, which isn't so bad considering the dining, especially seafood, sucks. Violence is broadcast every hour on Wavy 10 News, reminds me of a less religious version of Chicago. Drivers and lights are horrible and people have no consideration for others. Number 8, New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans is now known as the murder capital of the U.S., with homicides hitting a number not seen since the 1990s. New Orleans is like a Disneyland for adults. It's a city where people come to party, so it's inevitable that you will run into groups of drunk tourists in New Orleans. Crime in New Orleans is sometimes over-exaggerated. It's not necessarily a dangerous place to visit. But you do need to take the same precautions you would in any city. Be on the lookout for pickpockets, and don't leave valuables in your car. Although parking is expensive, it's best to park in a protected lot where your car is safer from vandals. Use your normal street smarts, avoid dark alleys, and don't stumble around drunk by yourself in the wee hours. Number 7, San Francisco, California. In San Francisco, drug addicts and homeless everywhere. People would shoot heroin in front of anyone's house all the time. Needles everywhere. Completely insane homeless people screaming at the top of their lungs as you walk past them at 7 a.m., truly scary. Many people hate San Francisco because it is a very expensive city. In 2022, San Francisco was the 8th most expensive city in the world, slightly more expensive than Paris, Copenhagen and Sydney, but less expensive than Los Angeles, which is tied with Hong Kong at number 4. Because of the widening wealth gap caused by the tech sector, there is an anti-wealth sentiment that pervades a lot of the San Francisco culture. Peoples are in San Francisco very anti-capitalist. I think that is some reasons to people hate San Francisco. Number 6, San Antonio, Texas. Hate incidents against Asians are happening in San Antonio, but victims are not reporting them. This is not only reason to hate San Antonio, there are some more reasons, like living in San Antonio may be challenging if you suffer from allergies. The summer heat is a bear, poor air quality. In fact, in terms of air pollution, San Antonio sadly ranks as the 25th worst in the country. Locals may not like your moving here. Like with any recently discovered place, locals aren't too keen on transplants and treat newcomers with weariness. The unexpected popularity of living in San Antonio comes with growing pains, to be sure. Some locals will give you the cold shoulder and blame you for the uptick in traffic and housing prices. This mentality is prevalent in many growing cities across the country. Number 5, Atlanta, Georgia. Why do people not like Atlanta? When most people think of the city of Atlanta, they think of its rich history and famous architecture. They also admire the city for being the center of commerce for much of the country's early history. However, many people dislike Atlanta for its poor living conditions and crime rate. In fact, many people compare Atlanta to a dirty, crime-ridden city that's full of trash and unattractive buildings. Aside from being known for its crime rate, Atlanta is also known for not having any civic pride among its residents. Many people dislike how little Georgia likes its capital city. Many things happen in Atlanta that are unpopular with Georgians. Even though these events bring money into the city, most people dislike how their city is used as a venue for these events. Number 4, Los Angeles, California. People hate Los Angeles when they demand something specific from their experience here and they can't figure out how to get it. Most people come to Los Angeles hoping for all of their biggest dreams to come true. They figure that the city will reward their bravery for moving here simply because they came. Some of the complaints I have heard about Los Angeles. This city doesn't care about the homeless. There aren't enough affordable housing in Los Angeles. This city doesn't have enough free aftercare programs for children. There are too many earthquakes. The people here are so phony and materialistic. This city is expensive and overrated. I think the main reason is people saw many videos about Los Angeles homeless and drug addicts. That is a reason so many people don't like Los Angeles. Number 3, Miami, Florida. People hate Miami because Miami simply sucks. Miami is a city with the biggest rich-poor gap in the U.S. and Miami is a city with amongst the highest level of poverty in the U.S. To deny Miami's problems is just plain stupid, because Miami's problems will continue to worsen unless someone stands up and does something about them. Miami is a city where English has become the second language. Are you happy with that? Do you accept the fact jobs insist on applicants being bilingual? Do you not see that as a form of discrimination? We all joke about how bad the drivers are here, but would you joke about them if you lost a loved one because some moron hit them and drove off? Do you not think that there is a serious problem with the spastic drivers in the city? People hate Miami because they've experienced it for themselves, not because of the stigma associated with the city. Number 2, Orlando, Florida. To see why people dislike Orlando, we will look at an article review on Quora. Worst people I've ever encountered anywhere. I can't wait to move. And yes, traffic is oppressive. It will destroy your spirit when you see how long the lights are and how long it takes to drive under 5 miles. So pointless living here. It isn't walkable like a big city, and don't get me started on the crime. This is not family-friendly place. So many homeless and desperate people. I've had 2 people purposefully advance in front of my work truck in downtown Orlando trying to get a payday from the company insurance. There is a massive tent city that exudes petty crime like a cow taking a piss. Foreigners and tourists will constantly stop right in front of you wherever you are walking or driving. Number 1, Tampa, Florida. This city is also from Florida. If you see the downtown of Tampa, it's really very beautiful city in the United States. But Tampa's bad reputation is both actual and well-earned. Tampa's problems mainly stem from substance abuse, addiction, and mental illness. Those 3 factors are indeed at the core of the city's problems and reputation. Tampa has one of the highest rates of fentanyl overdoses in the country. Some neighborhoods in the inner city of Tampa are very unsafe, while others are much safer. If you're not a fan of the heat, the entire city will be miserable, as in the summer it is quite humid and reaches temperatures close to 100 Fahrenheit on a regular basis. It gets quite humid and you literally can walk outside and you can sweat. It's hot and tropic because it's Florida. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.